Everybody, how's it going today? Here we are on, what is it? It is Thursday, y'all, and I'm out of water. Let's see if I can get the second one. Oh, I got a little bit of coffee left. I'm just stalling as this thing is uploading and going, waiting for some peeps to hop on here. So one thing about using Restream is it takes a little bit for everybody to jump on. So hopefully I don't lose anybody who's going to be watching this in the future from this. But today I wanted to continue a conversation we've been having all week. And I don't know where my Bible went. Grab my other one. And this conversation was started a couple days ago. At least today's theme was about how to handle well, I guess, if you will, this week has been talking about family drama, and within family drama, it's hard for you to keep your mind straight when you've got family drama, when you've got problems in your relationships, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, all that kind of stuff that comes in and throws you for a loop. So you're constantly thinking, constantly worrying, and there ain't no drama like family drama. And that's what we've experienced with the family of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Isaac was a man who was born to Abraham, the promised child that was to usher in and begin the Israelite people. And that was going to usher in our Messiah, Jesus Christ. Wow, this is the beginning of a legacy. But sometimes when things start rough, they end perfect. So even if you had a rough start in life, don't you worry. God can do his work and his magic. And even though you started rough, he can help you finish strong. And with that being said, we've been talking about 2 days ago, we talked about how Esau had been told by his father right after his brother, Jacob, has stolen his birthright and stolen his blessing. His father had nothing left to give, but then his father was going on to, it wasn't even a blessing, really. It was, I've got nothing more to give you. But basically what he said was, is when you decide to let go of this thing that your brother did to you, then you'll be set free from that weight. And what I wanted to emphasize on that was to get us to realize that, listen, when it comes to a drama in the family, a relationship that's been broken, things that have been happening, it's vital for us to really understand that we make the choice when to let that go. It's not contingent on what this person did, what they're going to do, how this is going to play out, whether you have the money in the bank, whether that person said. It's contingent on when you make the decision. And so even at the beginning of this betrayal that happened with his own brother, the father, Isaac, was saying, hey, when you decide to let this go, that's when you're going to lift the yoke of your brother, the weight of your brother off of you. And with that, I might be on the wrong Wi-Fi here. Yep, I am on the wrong Wi-Fi, so I don't even know if it's actually technically working. But I'm not going to switch it now. But with that, he was trying to get us to see. Actually, I'll start walking closer to my house. That'll be the best one. That'll be the best one. I'll just tell stories. I'll leave the Bible right there, and I'm going to use my memory. So my apologies. I just dropped a bunch of people, so I realized that I forgot to change my settings. So I'm going to walk closer to my house because it hooked to my house. But with that being said, he was trying to get him to understand that you make the decision, you make the decision, you make the decision, you make the decision. Not anybody else can make that decision for you, but you're the one who makes the decision for what goes on with your life. Like, you make the decision to move forward from that betrayal. You make the decision to move forward from that thing that that person did to you. And then yesterday we moved into how when trauma speaks, how Alexa, turn off. How when Esau saw that his brother had been deceptive, let's just say. Take this off. I'm trying to focus here now. All right, now I'm settled in. So yesterday we talked about when trauma speaks. And with that being said, what happened with the story that we were talking to you guys about yesterday was that Jacob was actually the one who had stole the blessing and the birthright from his brother. And Jacob was not married at this point in time, but Esau was. Esau, they were both twins. Esau married Canaanite women, and he married Philistine women. And he was marrying women that were outside of what his mother Rebecca and father Isaac were hoping for him to marry. And so Jacob was not married. And so his mother, knowing that Esau was going to kill Jacob because he stole the blessing and the birthright, said, go back to your father's country, go back to the land, go back to our own go back to our own country, and go and find yourself a wife there. And when he did that, Esau found out that Isaac and Rebekah, their parents, had given him the blessing to go and find family. And then it clearly said in Genesis, I think 28, that Esau knew loud and clear that his parents did not like that he was marrying the women that were in the land that they were living. They didn't like it because they were taking him down the wrong road. They were disrespectful to Rebekah. They were not following the religious ways that they wanted him to follow him. And Esau, when he saw that, he was looking for attention. And so what happens is you are when you are attacked by traumas, especially the trauma of rejection, you will go to extreme lengths to fulfill that void that the trauma has caused. And he went on every void. He left what he had behind. He went to his father's country, their own nation, and he got himself another wife just to become accepted. And so he was trying to fill a void that that trauma had taken from him. So don't let trauma take the wheel is basically what I was trying to say. But today what I wanted to do is finish the story from Genesis chapter 33. Genesis chapter 33 is amazing because this was the restoration that was caused by Esau and Jacob, which his name is now turned to Israel, were important for us to see the restoration that God did because they were willing to do some things. Now, I'm going to start with Jacob because Jacob was the one who was the deceiver and supplanter. He went to live with his uncle Laban. And he worked for his uncle for, I think, 20 years. And within those 20 years, Jacob became extremely wealthy. Now, God called Jacob to move back to his father's land where Esau lived. Now, this has been 20 years since he stole his brother's birthright, and Jacob was scared to death. He was scared that his brother was going to kill him. He was scared that his brother was going to rob him because Jacob stole the birthright and the blessing. He was scared to face his past. But you know what I love about it? Is he still obeyed the word of the Lord. God told him to go back to his father's country where Esau was. And even though he was scared, he did it anyway. Now, my question for you is if you want to break out and see restoration, even though it's scary, you still need to do what God told you to do. You see, even though it's scary to face that brother or sister or mother or cousin or uncle or friend that you haven't seen in years, you still need to do it afraid. And even though Jacob was scared and Jacob felt like he was going to get killed or he didn't know what was going to happen, that worry of I don't know, he still obeyed the word of God. And so if God tells you to do something, you know in your heart of hearts that he told you to do it, whether it's an instruction, whether it's to go do something, whether it's to do something for somebody, give something to somebody, send an email, send a text message, make that phone call. Even though you're scared, if you know that God called you to do it, do it, which was the amazing step of restoration. Now, we fast forward after all these 20 years of Esau planning and plotting to kill his brother. He was just waiting for Isaac, his dad, to die so he can go and make up for it and kill Jacob. That's what it was. And that's why Jacob fled for 20 years. But now Esau heard that Jacob was on his way. And this is the thing that I want us to see, that when Jacob heard that Esau heard that he was coming, he found out that Esau was heading in Jacob's way. Esau wasn't waiting for Jacob to get to Esau. Esau left his home and his tent and left with 400 men and came toward Jacob. That's what Jacob heard. Now, if you thought he was scared before, now he is just about shaking in his boots now, because if he brought 400 men, the only thing that Jacob would think of is, I'm gonna die. And this is the thing that happened. Jacob was smart because Jacob is a deceiver. Jacob used multiple different ways to be able to work his magic because he was just that good. And so what he did was he split up all of his possessions between all of his different family and all of his different servants, and he sent each one toward Esau in waves. And every wave that he sent these people in, that wave of people gave Esau a gift. And wave after wave hit, and Esau is being hit with generosity after generosity after generosity, because Jacob was scared for his life, and he was trying to pay back to his brother what had been stolen from him when they were 20 years younger. But then finally Jacob sent, or it was Israel, and then Jacob sent all of his family across the river, and he stayed at this place by himself to wrestle with God. Now, this is a great lesson for us to learn, that when it comes to restoration, not only do you have to do it afraid, but number two, there are going to be some times where you need to separate yourself and wrestle with God. Because this night God appeared to Jacob and physically they wrestled, but I want you to spiritually and emotionally wrestle with God. There are some things you're going to have to wrestle out. And at the end of that wrestling, declare a blessing. And God's going to bless you. God's going to bless you. God's going to bless you. And even though you're going to get into a wrestling match with God, you're going to find out some things about you and to gain some things in those wrestlings. Maybe it's clarity about your life. Maybe it's clarity about your purpose. Maybe it's clarity about what you're actually doing. Because it'll come down to the point where you set up the meeting and the next day you're going to sit in the meeting. That night you're alone. You're wondering, oh my God, how is this going to go? Is this going to good? Is this going to go bad? And you're wrestling with God. But when you continue to push through, you're going to find out what Genesis 33 has to offer. Finally, Esau gets to meet with Jacob. Jacob comes down, crosses the river, and goes over to see Esau. Esau doesn't come at him with the sword. He doesn't come at him with a sling. He doesn't come at him with an accusation. He comes at him with love and with grace. And he says, what was all of this stuff that you're trying to give me? What was all of it that you were trying to hand to me? And Jacob said, it was my gift to you, my Lord. And so in restoration, you not only have to have, what was the beginning? You not only have to do it afraid, you not only have to wrestle with God, but number three, you have to have humility. You have to have humility. And Jacob knew that he had hurt his brother, and he came to him and saying, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And this is the thing. Esau said this. This is so funny. This is so funny. What are you trying to do, brother? I've got plenty. I don't need what you're going to give me. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. He just said, I am just happy to see you again. You want to know why Genesis 33 was so powerful? It was because Esau listened to his father in Genesis 27. 20 years had passed between 27 and 33, but Esau did not forget the story that Isaac told him to listen to. He told him, do not carry this burden. Do not carry the jealousy. Do not carry the pain that your brother has caused you by stealing your blessing. When you choose to let it go, then you will release the weight of your brother's yoke off your neck. And so when Esau heard Jacob was coming, Esau didn't have to go into 40 days of prayer and fasting to be okay with seeing his brother again. Esau was already healed because Esau made a choice that I'm going to forgive my brother even if he's not here for me to see him. Esau did not pursue his brother to kill him. Esau pursued his brother to see him in love. And so Jacob did it afraid. He wrestled with God afraid. He was pronounced a blessing upon, and he was humble even though he was afraid. And those are the three steps in order for you to receive restoration. But in order for you to give restoration and forgiveness, you've got to let it go. It is a pattern in your mind that will either keep you locked up or locked into God's mercy, locked up in your pain or locked into God's love, locked up in your unforgiveness or locked into the forgiveness of God. And that is where fruitful lives flow from. And so Esau continued to live his life without the blessing of his father because he knew the blessing of God was stronger than the blessing of his father. And Esau was even more rich than it seems to be, apparently. Esau seems to be more rich than Jacob. And he forgave Jacob. And honestly, I'm just going off speculation now. I truly believe, number one, Esau was blessed because he was the son of Abraham, the grandson of Abraham, the son of Isaac. But I also do believe that it appears to be that he was more blessed because he forgave Jacob. He forgave Jacob. Maybe your blessing is still locked up because you haven't chosen to forgive and unlock yourself from the yoke. just maybe. Same thing with me. I mean, just last night I saw an individual that I hadn't seen in over a year and a half. And I waved to him. I tried to love on, didn't get a wave back, but it warmed my heart to see them. I wasn't ugly. I warmed my heart to at least see their face because I love them. I absolutely love them, but I know there's been hurt in the past. But it was so, for me, it's about choosing to forgive before the other people repent, and choosing to forgive yourself, and choosing to also be the side of Jacob, where you're going to seek restoration, even if you're the one that did the wrong. Now, I hope I went all over the place with that, so I hope that brings some restoration to your heart. And that's all I got for you guys today. So if you want to read Genesis 27 to 33, and I believe you're going to get an amazing word from God out of those few chapters. It is Thursday, and I'm heading out to the Warriors Conference tonight. Myself and 6 other gentlemen from the church are heading out. It is going to be an amazing time. We go every year. They have it open. Obviously, last year was COVID. Thank God they're having it this year. It's a great time. They got a big old resort out in New Hampshire, ski resort, arena that they have. And usually there's about 1,200 people that go to this conference, but the number is 200 this year. It's a big old, humongous ice rink. And they cut the number down to 200 this year, but it's still going to be amazing. I'm excited. I am ready. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching these long middays this week. Linda, how are you? TJ, Derek, Ma, Carrie, Kaylin, Becky, Tammy, y'all are amazing. If any of you need restoration, or if you know someone that needs restoration, or if you like any of these, please hit the share button on all of the content we've got going on for these midday motivations and beyond through Revive Church, our Sunday morning worship experiences, our stronger nights on Wednesday nights. We just want to love on you guys and get you the tools you need to succeed in life, and not allow the bondages and the hurts of the past become a stumbling block. We want them to become a stepping stone. And so I want to thank you guys for following, for watching. Hit the share button. Let somebody know. I love you guys. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.